Yo, what's up guys, it's ABOP. Now I was a little worried about making this video because it is going to be a little controversial and it is going to be a little hard to see some of the points that I am trying to make because I am trying to look at things in the bigger picture, long-term picture versus what we want like right here, right now, and kind of dig a little deeper onto the mentality of gamers and the finals. I am going to start off by saying that I really want this game to succeed, not just from a YouTuber or the finals lover's perspective, but as someone that loves first-person shooters and the gaming industry as a whole. Embark is really taking the red pill with this one. They are truly original, truly unique, and are taking risk that no other game is willing to take. Embark is, in a way, giving players what we've always wanted ever since the industry has turned into whatever it's turned into. They're pretty respectable when it comes to their monetization. There's a ton of free, good-looking cosmetics. There's ways to receive free multi-bucks, and the battle pass and VRs are not that hard to grind. And if you look into the game itself, the gameplay, it goes even deeper. I could go on and on for hours about how unique and different the finals is compared to other games. Now, real quick, I want to answer the question, is the finals dying? And personally, I think absolutely not. A lot of people are comparing the finals to games that have been out for more years than the finals has months. Not only that, but a lot of these games that have been out for years launched at a safer state. By that, I mean the fundamental gameplay, the actual mechanics of the game, where the finals is so different, so unique, so original that, again, they're taking risk. So by default, that's hard mode. They're playing on hard mode. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and start diving a little deeper into some of my opinions and observations. Let's start out by talking about cocaine. If you look at this chart right here, you will see that purity levels are going up year by year. Now, if you look at this chart right here with a survey sample of 1, you will also see that the average sweat percentage of a gamer is also increasing year by year. Does correlation mean causation? Well, probably not. But the fact is, I'm pretty sure most of us will agree that there's more sweats now more than ever. Now, sweats aren't really a bad thing. I kind of put myself in that category myself. I have a GPX and an artisan mouse pad. If you know, you know, but that's as sweaty as it gets. And a lot of those sweats are going to be your YouTubers, your Twitch streamers, your content creators, the ones teaching the metas, making the metas, and even breaking and changing the metas. Now, the reason why I am even bringing this up is because there's also some severe negatives. The whole sweat thing, and please hear me out, I am heavily generalizing. I'm not pointing any fingers, but it is in a way a poison. And this game, the finals, would have been wildly popular, I believe so, before the days of everyone wanting to be a Twitch streamer. And again, it's okay. Like, I think it's okay. Personally, I think it's okay. I think the times that we are living in is fine, but I also think it's something that the players and Embark both should understand that we're in. That nowadays there are people that care more about winning than anything else, that will treat it like a job, treat it as if there's nothing else that matters. And if you give them something fun, they will suck the fun out of it just to destroy everyone and mess up their fun too, you know? So just wanted to get that out there. Now, I'm going to get back to this in a bit, but I think a lot of you guys are wondering, why is the title of this video, Are Players Too Dumb for the Finals? So let's talk about that. So I've made an observation a while ago. It may be completely inaccurate, but from my personal experiences, most of the people that are playing the game are fairly above average in games. But when it comes to the very high skill level players and some of the lower skill level players, there's nothing wrong with that, but those are the ones that are leaving. It's usually one end or the other. Of course, there are exceptions, obviously, you know, just like in anything, but think about it. Let me know if you have any really good players that you used to play with that won't touch this game, or less experienced players in other games that won't even give it a shot and try it either. I think I know why though, a little bit. So let's go ahead and start talking about the the lower skill player base. Now, of course, I don't think that they're stupid. That was just clickbait, to be honest. But I do think there are some observations that Embark should make if they really do want to keep and attract those players. And really, the number one thing I will say is that this game is deceptively difficult. It looks like an easy, fun, casual, blow stuff up, let's just run around and hack walls and blah, blah, blah game. And it is. You can play it that way. But as soon as you start associating this game with winning at all, as soon as you want to become a good teammate and start winning, you will quickly realize, if you're not used to other games at least, that this game is difficult. Please don't let anyone else try to tell you otherwise, because I will explain why it is difficult. Now, one of the main reasons for this is the higher TTK. That means you have to have one of the hardest styles of aim, which is tracking. But not only that, the guns themselves have relatively high recoil for a game with such a high TTK. Now, also with higher TTKs come with the demand for very good teamwork, especially when you consider the power of the gadgets. This is a category and a subject that I could go very, very, very deep on, but I can't right now. I don't have a ton of time. I don't want to make a super long video, but please trust me that this isn't easy for newer, less experienced players. Yes, for you, it may be a little more second nature from someone who thought that this game was just going to be a blow 'em up KD farming game. It's hard. Please trust me on that. And I haven't even started to talk about things like positioning and the game mode itself, the objective. That can go very deep. It can. And if you're a newer player or someone that just doesn't care, it's hard for you to get into. And that's why I think this is something that's important to bring up. Again, I don't think it's the player's fault. I don't think it's, oh, they're too stupid, so they can't figure out the game, they can't play the game. I think it's something that Embark should look at and think to themselves, how can we get these players to start to understand our game, to start to build confidence, to want to get better and play the game. It is much harder to be inspired to play a game if you can't see the path to being good. A lot of people want to get better every day. If you can't even begin to see the path, that can be pretty demotivating. Now, I am going to give a quick suggestion in a way. I think that Embark should make truly casual game modes. Now, I know that Bank It and Power Shift are a little more on that end, but I want a game mode that completely eliminates a lot of the complexities of the game and lets you focus on one thing. For example, a lot of people want a team deathmatch, which is fair. I'm not a huge fan of team deathmatch, but whatever they do, I definitely think there shouldn't be a long respawn timer, if one at all. I definitely think they should try to limit gadgets much more heavily than any other game mode and really start to section off the map even to get people close. A true like meat grinder mode where all you do is shoot, 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 so you can refine that skill, so you can get used to the weapons, so you get used to the recoil, used to tracking, used to the TTKs. And once people are comfortable there, it'll be easier to get out into the real field. You could even apply this to gadgets in a way. What if there was a 3v environment where the floor is lava and you're forced to get across using gadgets, whether it's heal beam, zip line, and instead of the first person crossing determines the time, it's the last person crossing. So now it becomes a overall team-oriented, gadget-oriented game mode where people can learn their gadgets and teamwork in a safe environment instead of being tossed in the wilderness. I mean, you could see how many people don't even consider that or think about teamwork based off of how many new players don't even touch their heal beam throughout the entire game. It's fine, but maybe if they knew how powerful it could be, how much it's helping their team, maybe they would use it. I don't know. I really don't know. Now, what about the very high skill level players? Why are some of them leaving? Now, I do think a lot of it has to do with maybe not being able to translate all of their skills to this game, and it was too much to learn, and possibly it's not as relevant, so they just don't care. That's part of it, right? But I do think that there is a more fundamental problem, and I may not even be able to explain it that well, and it may not even be that please let me know if I'm wrong, or please let me know if this doesn't make any sense to you. So please hear me out. There are different levels to this, but the first thing I'm going to talk about are teams that have a hard time identifying what went wrong. I'm going to go ahead and hop straight into an example for this one. If you have a team that brute forces their way through using mechanics, as in great aim, great movement, and eventually gets to a point where they just can't win. They're dropping way more kills than everyone else, all the teams combined or whatever it is, and they still can't win. If they can't identify why they're losing, then they're just gonna drop the game because, oh, this game sucks, it's RNG, doesn't matter, skill means nothing. This goes to that point I was talking about earlier, where if something's too frustrating to a point where you can't even see the path to becoming better, to success, then why even play? Now, what if you do have teams that know everything? They are good at the game overall. They understand the game overall as a whole. There are still a few kind of broken areas. And one of them is that whole, if you can't beat them, join them meta thing, where if you're running whatever you want to run and you can't win, well, shit, now I have to run double heavy medium, heal beam, mesh. And really, that's kind of the way to go to this day. That's just kind of just it if you want to win consistently. So now let's pretend that everyone is running the same meta, everyone is the same skill level. I still think that there is a pretty big problem, and that's the filtration system in a way. I don't think that the best team wins enough. I think the percentage of teams that sneak in there and get their little dub in is a bit too high. I do get that it's fun and exciting to get that last second steal. That's something I never want to remove from the game. But there are also times where even I know that my team isn't doing that well. I know that we're not put together. We get wiped. We lose a fight, but get rewarded by getting a spawn that allows us to walk in there, get some free picks, steal the objective, and win. And it kind of shows that the filtration system isn't the best, because a lot of the times in the final rounds, it's usually a blowout one way or the other.
Double time, baby.
Now, I could go pretty deep on solutions and details, but I definitely think that Embark is working on that. I think they know. I think that they are trying to smoothen things out, make things better, and things are getting much, much better. And that's going to bring me into my next segment. Are the nerfs good for the game? Now, hear me out. I know that it's a pretty popular opinion that the nerfs are a terrible thing for the game. They're making the game stale, and that is pretty true. But for the long-term health and stability of the game, the nerfs are actually a pretty good thing. If you think about it, the game has been, for me at least, feeling much better and fair. Now, I'm not going to act like Embark is perfect. They do make some questionable decisions sometimes, but let's look at it like chicken. If you have an over-seasoned chicken or an oddly seasoned chicken, maybe there's ranch and maple syrup on the same chicken, that's just not that good, you know? So if you make the chicken bland, it's a little bit easier to see what's going on there. Now, when you add a little bit of, paprika, a little bit of salt, a little bit of maple syrup, whatever it is that you want to put on there, whether it's weird or not, at least it'd be easier to identify what went wrong. So let them nerf things a little bit. Let them tame the waters, calm everything down. And then hopefully, we're all kind of hoping this, right? This is up to them, but hopefully we can start seeing some rebalances and buffs then. That's the hope. Let's talk about some of the nerfs. Nukes. I thought I was going to miss them. I thought that they were going to take some of the creativity out of the game, but I think it was the right decision. I actually don't miss them. I had APS. We died in APS, bro. Okay, I shot his CP. Bro, I'm about to punch my monitor. And I didn't realize how frustrating they were until they were completely gone, and the game just feels so refreshing and new again. Now, if you look at Recon Sense, in my opinion, that was probably one of the most unhealthy things that this game has ever had. And that's because I feel like it was making a lot more people think that there were way more cheaters than there really were. And part of that problem is that it plants a seed in people's head where, oh, everyone's a cheater, when they're just better or using gadgets that give you literal wall hacks. Now, I know there are cheaters, but this is an industry problem, not the finals problem. This is an industry, gaming, PvP, borderline PvE problem. And the only game I can think of that doesn't have a ton of cheaters is Valorant. Besides that, I don't know where else someone that's quitting because of cheaters is going. Now, I will say that, like I've said throughout the whole video almost, the skill gap is higher than your average game. So sometimes it's hard to comprehend how much better someone is than you. That's just something to think about. It hurts to see, but but kind of the truth, and reconstants just amplified that. Now let's talk about the invis and stun gun nerfs. The stun gun was slightly overdone in my opinion. I do feel like that was a counter to things like mesh and healing and defib. And now that you can do all those things while you're stunned, I think it's no longer as useful. And the only thing that it's really good for now is denying cash outs, which is powerful. Don't get me wrong, but I would like to see some of its usefulness restored. Now let's quickly talk about invisibility. My biggest problem with invisibility is how inconsistent it is between platforms or builds or PCs or settings. I have tried to match my settings with other players, and for me, they're still completely invisible, gone, disappeared, deleted, and they're not there. They're not cloaked, they're gone. Now, while that's my personal biggest frustration, I also don't think that it's the healthiest thing for the game. If you look at it from a new player's perspective, these people that we need in the game, it cannot be fun for someone to just pop up in your face and just instantly delete you. I don't think a lot of people are going to find that very entertaining. So I have shared a lot of my opinions, and now at this point, if you've gotten this far, I would love for you to share yours. The only thing that I find more important than liking and subscribing, which I would love for you to do, is commenting. I genuinely want to see what people say, see how you feel, see how you think, whether you liked this style of video, whether you think I'm ugly, whatever it is that you want to say. You can leave an essay if you want, and I will try my best to read it. If I leave a little heart thing, that means I read it. I may not be able to respond to everything, but again, I like seeing what people think. Leave your thoughts, and I hope you guys have an excellent day, and I hope you continue to play the finals, because this is like the best game ever. Thank you.